Good morning, everybody. I'm here with John Kohler at the Woodstock Fruit Festival. It is day number 2. It's day number 2, right?
Yep, two. Well, I got here 3 days ago, okay, but for most people, it's 2.
All right, we're having such a blast. The time is just flying. 2 weeks. Like, I thought it was going to stretch on forever, but now I'm thinking 2 weeks is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that don't know John, tell them who you are, John. What do you do?
John Kohler, OKRaw.com. No, I have a few different YouTube channels where I actually teach people about eating a plant-based raw diet. I have one channel where I just teach my raw foods information. I've been doing this nearly 20 years now. I have another channel, Raw Foods, actually, where I have demonstrations of the juicers, blenders, and appliances that allow you to eat more raw foods. And then the most important channel of them all that I teach these days is actually how to grow your own food. I don't care if you're eating raw foods or non-raw foods, you should really be concerned about the foods you are eating, and the best foods you can eat, in my opinion, are the ones that you could grow yourself, you know, in your own very garden at home, and do things and add things to your soil so that you're going to have the highest quality food ever that's going to be the best tasting as well. And that's at growingyourgreens.com.
Nice. John is a very passionate man, if you haven't figured that out yet. So, I heard earlier that you have over 300 videos just on equipment, juicers, blenders, and whatnot.
Right.
So when did you start doing that? How did you come into doing reviews of equipment? And how do you get the equipment to review?
Yeah, sure. So back in 2008, actually, I got an inquiry because I've been in business selling the juicers actually since like 1997. For a lady that ran a cancer support group. She said, hey, can you make a video for my cancer support group about juicers? And I'd made videos and done talks before. But in 2008 is when I officially uploaded my first YouTube video, and I looked at it actually just the other day. I'm like, oh my God, it's terrible. But I mean, it was decent for what it was at the time. But you know, so that's how I got my start, Tim. Actually, just by helping this lady out who wanted a video on, you know, a specific cancer or whatever, and why juicing could be important for that. And since then, I've just kind of gotten into it because I am, you know, probably one of the largest independent retailers of juicers. The companies know who I am because of my videos, and they'll just send me equipment to test out and to make videos about. And, you know, let me tell you, like, unlike many other retailers online, like I'm sure Amazon.com is not sitting there using the juicers every single day. They don't care. They could be selling widgets, books, you know, DVDs. They could be selling anything. They don't care. You know, a lot of people, frankly, are in the business to make a buck. I'm in it to change your life. You know, I use these machines in my diet, in my daily practice, like every day. I know the ins and outs. You know, and I want you guys to get the best juicer or the best appliance if you choose to even use one, which they're not necessary to do raw foods by any means. In my opinion, they can be highly helpful, and I do use them myself. You know, so you can change your life, because that's what it's all about. For me, it's all about the health. I almost lost my life, you know, in my 20s from spinal meningitis, and I learned that, you know, health is your greatest wealth. It's not money. We don't want to go after money in this world that we're kind of convinced of. Yeah, we need money to be successful. Man, without your health, you can't enjoy your money, so think about that one.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you look at the definition of health and wealth, they're the same thing. Wealth means health. It's like an old English, old Germanic spelling of the word health. So, same thing. Spinal meningitis. Was it diet that got you through that?
No. So spinal meningitis, the only thing I could say that got me through that is higher powers, because, you know, the doctors had nothing for me. They could not treat me with any of their drugs or anything. And I was literally given a second chance at life. And, you know, through that, because I prayed a lot when I was in the hospital, because they couldn't do anything for me. And that's not a fun place to be, you know, especially when you're younger. I mean, here I am just out of college, potentially going to be losing my life and not experience any life. And it was going to end. And that scared the shit out of me at the time. You know, looking back on it now, it's been a number of years since that happened. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And if you're ill right now, it's the best thing that's ever happened to you, because now you're watching this video. Now you're willing and want to make the changes in your life so that you can get healthier and have a better life than you ever had before.
Illing and willing.
Illing and willing. Yeah, good one.
Well, you know, that's something I see a lot, especially at a festival like this. Many of the people that come to an event like this, or come to a raw diet or a vegan diet, come because of illness. They want to overcome some physical challenge. People that are generally happy and fit and doing well in life don't see a reason to change. Yeah. It's usually the people that have some kind of challenge.
That's why, yeah, exactly.
Overcome. So, John, you mentioned a little while ago that your first YouTube video was a little bit embarrassing. I watch my early YouTube videos and I am embarrassed. So what would you say to someone who wants to start a YouTube channel? They're thinking about it, but they're reluctant because they're afraid of doing it perfectly. They're like, I don't know if I'm good enough yet. I don't know if I know what to say. I don't know if I am, have a camera presence. But you and I both started turning on a camera and just talking, and it's embarrassing. But here we are today, many years later. My channel was started in 2006. So, God, that's 8 years. Wow. So what would you say to someone who wants to start a channel but is a little hesitant?
I would just say get out the camera, turn it on, and start doing it today. I mean, there's no way you're going to learn. Like, how did you learn to walk? Did you say, oh, I can't walk, I'm going to fall down? No, you started by crawling first. So start by making a few videos now and watch yourself, And that's all right. You're going to say, oh, I could have done this better, could have done this better. And yeah, people might make comments about things, and you just got to ignore the comments because, you got to have a purpose for doing this. The purpose of my videos, and yeah, I'm not perfect all the time. I screw up. My English is not proper. And if you're an English major, you're probably correcting me all the time. And I don't really care because my message is to get a point across. Every one of my videos is like a Leave It to Beaver episode in the olden days, man. There's always a message that the beaver learned at the end. And if you watch my videos, in my opinion, there's always a message or something you will take away from it. And I would encourage you guys to always have a takeaway point in your videos, no matter what that is, and focus on that and just start doing it because you're not going to get better by not practicing, and practice makes perfect is what they say.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, for me, most of my videos come from some challenge or experience that I had that I worked through or was in the process of working through, and it's like, wow, actually I got through that moment. Okay, what did I do? Maybe I should talk about that. Or with the juicer or with anything that you do, it's like, okay, I just had some experience with that. Here's what didn't work, here's what worked. So things from your life.
Yeah, I mean, I share my life on YouTube, on 3 different YouTube channels. It's kind of crazy, and half my life is just making videos these days, it seems.
I know, right? So, growing your own greens, how much land do you think someone needs to supply themselves with enough greens to get through a year?
Sure, I mean...
Or food, not just greens, but food in general.
So, they're two different questions there. So, if you have a standard American tract home, you live in a standard tract home, just a cookie cutter house, there's different models and whatnot, 8,000 square feet is like my house is what I have. And you could easily grow, in a mild climate such as California or Nevada, you could easily grow enough greens for yourself year round. Even if you live in an apartment, you can still grow microgreens inside and, get a good fill of greens every day by growing them yourself. I mean, so... in my opinion, the green requirement can be met easily. Even in Maine, where you live, Tim, you could put up hoop houses and double hoop houses and grow cold-tolerant vegetables in the wintertime and have a good supply of greens. And also, grow the sprouts and the microgreens indoors because the microgreens and the sprouts like the same climate we like to live in. So, that's just not an issue. People they just don't know how to do it. And, they just think they could just go out to buy the food, and it's the same as growing it yourself. And I need to let you guys know that, buying industrial agriculture food, even if it is organic, even if that's your farmer's market, it's not going to be as good as what you do yourself, and you're never going to exactly know what the farmer has done to the food. So you have full transparency on knowing where your food came from, how it was raised, what nutrients were added to the soil so that you could have the highest nutrient food. Plus, it tastes a lot better. So on to the question, Tim, with growing, your whole diet. That's a little bit more challenging. As you guys know out there, I eat a fruit-based diet, so most of my calories come from fruit, but we need not to neglect the vegetables by any means, because I think some people can focus too much on the fruit and not the vegetables and other things that are very important in my opinion. But to grow fruit trees and have enough fruit, I figure I'd probably need about 1 acre per person. Okay. If I had about an acre, I could plant that out in fruits and vegetables, and I'm going to be good, and one of these days I will be doing that for me and my family that I hope to have it at some point.
Yeah. We've got, where I live in Vermont, we have a 4-acre blueberry orchard. And we have so many blueberries, we can't possibly pick them all. We probably pick 20% of the berries that grow.
You got any berries with you now?
I do. I have 6 quarts sitting.
I need some, man! I'm jonesing!
Hook him up, we'll give him a fix. You can see he's a little low energy right now, so we need to up him a little bit. All right, so John, anything you want to let my audience know? A lot of the people that watch my videos come because I talk about personal challenge.
Right.
I talk about overcoming emotional obstacles and things like that. So we each have a niche.
Absolutely.
Like I don't try to do a lot of or any review videos because you do an amazing job of that. You know, so we each fill a niche and we complete that picture. So anything you'd like to say to my people out there that
absolutely
deal with all my craziness?
I mean, I like to watch some of Tim's craziness because it balances me out a little bit. I'm like, I'm not that crazy. But and then he actually has a lot of good info actually, so I tune into Tim a lot. But you know, once again, every different teacher on YouTube you can learn something from, and I would encourage you to cherry pick the ideas and the concepts from each person that's gonna, you know, help you out the most. Some of the things I have to add about this is that the equipment specifically and getting the right equipment, because you know the equipment is nothing more or less than a tool. We use a lot of tools. Car is a tool, you know, a pencil's a tool, and you want to get the right tool for the right job. I mean, I was talking earlier to a guy that does bass fishing, and you know, all I had to do to say is I had to tell him that, well, how many fishing lines and fishing poles and fishing lures do you have to catch different kinds of fish? Well, that's how many juicers I have. So trying to get one juicer to meet all your needs might be a bit tough, because I'm like, would you be able to fish all the different fish in the world with one line and one lure? Well, it'd be very challenging. So trying to fit a juicer to a person can be challenging. That's why I've really made all the different videos so that, you know, you could watch them and figure out what juicer is the best for you, so you could get the right appliance to increase your fruit and vegetable consumption, because that's what, to me, this, you know, raw foods based diet is all about. It's eating more fruits and vegetables. And then the last takeaway is you want to start growing your food today. The industrialized food system is in a crisis, in my opinion. If trucks stop running, if there's peak oil and you can't get produce delivered, you're not going to be eaten, so you better start learning how to do it now. Plus, the other reason why I'm really into growing food is to grow a higher quality food. I mean, I know many of you guys out there may have had homegrown tomatoes, and you know how good they taste, but imagine your kale tasting good as tomatoes. Homegrown kale tastes 10 times better than that old stuff at the store that starts to get bitter and tasting nasty once it's been picked, shipped, and shipped across the country. Plus, not to say that the nutrition in it is higher. So, for example, on nutrient-dense grown green beans out of your garden, it could have 50% more protein than store-bought green beans. So what does this mean? There's 50% more protein. That means you could eat less food to get the same amount of protein. So this is where I'm at right now. This is my latest learnings and teachings and what I'm most passionate about. So if anything else, you want to check out growingyourgreens.com. I have over 975 videos at this point teaching you guys how to grow your own food, whether you live in an apartment in Brooklyn or whether you have acreage in, you know, Montana. You know, I live in the desert in Las Vegas, one of the hardest and challenging places to grow food, but my backyard looks like a jungle right now, and I have videos showing tours, a 50-minute tour of my backyard summer garden compared to my neighbors, which is just all rocks. So I don't care where you live, there's no excuse not to grow your own food. You could even grow microgreens and sprouts inside and start today, to my, you know, opinion and take away from it.
Awesome, John. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
Check him out, John Kohler.